Hey guys, he's Chris Halicke. I'm Dejan Kovacevic. We're from DK Pittsburgh Sports. We're here in Denver. He's here in Denver for the first time.
Never been here before. It's crazy. My wife hasn't been here before either. 20 years in the Navy. She never came here, so I get the bragging rights. I get to call
It's a neat place. I can't recommend it highly enough, and I've been doing that for years. Brought my own family out here. It's a fun place to visit, fun place to vacation, and it could be a fun place
for Steelers fans, maybe.
Plus is the 53 guys that'll be in uniform. And Chris, Steelers versus Broncos, 4:25 p.m. on Sunday. That's 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. Mm-hmm. And it's shaping up as yet another game in which you say the defense is going to win this game. Mm-hmm. The defense has to win this game. Where are you on this?
Yeah, they kind of have to win it because, well, first off, the offense, yes, they did some good things in Atlanta. Obviously, didn't score any touchdowns. They need to take another step forward. But until the offense continues to find itself and to continue to develop into what they want to be, mm-hmm. This is an opportunity for the defense to be like, okay, you guys worry about yourselves. Yeah. We'll go win the football game. That's actually
how they talk too. It really is. I mean, in Atlanta, it was all like, well, the offense didn't score a touchdown. They're acting like the defensive guys like they don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
You know, when I brought up with Dante Jackson this week, it said, you know, you guys were out there, but you also got a lot of help from the offense, you know, keeping you off the field. He goes, he kind of looks around and he goes, I don't know how to say this, but I don't want to be off the field.
Yeah.
Like, is that okay to say that? It's like, yeah, dude. I mean, that's a good, hungry defense, but it's also one that had a lot of literal moving parts, Chris.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about this defense and ideally dominating the Broncos, who have a weak front and who have a quarterback starting his second NFL game, you're talking about wanting to rotate them in large part also because of the thin air.
Yeah, thin air. It's also going to be hot, like 87 or 89 degrees, something like that.
All the worst.
So it's going to be hot, thin air. They're going to have to rotate. You're going to see a lot of Mon Adams up front. You're going to see a lot of maybe Isaiah Loudermilk up front. You're going to see a lot of rotating. You should see a good amount of Peyton Wilson. Maybe even Mark Robinson gets on the field every now and then at inside linebacker. Secondary, they're going to have to rotate.
You see more in Landon Roberts, as long as we're talking about inside linebacker, than what we saw last week. He and Patrick Queen both have some stepping up to do, especially Queen, I would say. And so when you're talking about the defense, you're talking about a heavy rotation. That's something that Terrell Austin wanted to do early in Atlanta because he knew he was putting TJ and Minkah and Cam out there for the first time since they hadn't really been in the preseason. And that worked. But guess what? Because that worked, they can feel comfortable doing it again over across the bridge here on Sunday.
Yeah, what they do have, like, yes, the starting 11 is really good, but they also have a good amount of depth pretty much everywhere. Like defensive line, I understand like that was a big kind of concern for some people, but listen, Mon Adams is a solid player. Isaiah
Loudermilk was out there in it was kind of obvious running situations, but he was out there. DeMarvin Leal coming off the camp. I know you loved the camp that he had.
He did. He had a good one.
And then you're adding them to a healthy Cam and Larry Ogunjobi and Keanu Benton, who we're kind of waiting to.
Yeah,
he's ready to feast.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? He's ready for that breakout game. We see it in practice. We see it in whatever.
I think he's got a good matchup this week against their center, the guy who's taking Cushenberry's spot. They lost a big time center. So
this will be his second game at center.
Yeah.
In the National Football League. So, yeah, you're talking about, I don't remember his name either. Who cares?
Wattenberg or something like that.
Yeah, he plays for the other guys. Go watch the other guys' videos if you want to learn about who their centers are.
The interior of the Denver line is going to be where the Steelers can have the most penetration here.
Denver offensive line.
Yeah, their offensive line, because their two tackles are pretty solid. Now, TJ Watt's still TJ Watt. So he's still going to give right tackle a problem. But the interior of that line, and sometimes that is the best place to attack. I remember Matt Williamson's talked about this. Mm-hmm. He's talked about the best place to attack a quarterback is, if they have a weak interior, is to push the pocket up the middle.
Knife up the middle. That's where you use Nick Herbig as the third OLB. You get him up there with his hand down in the dirt, the way we saw a handful of times in Atlanta. I'm going to throw in another Denver offensive lineman, only this one, I know his name. That's Garrett Bowles. And he did not have a healthy week of practice. He was not a full participant until Friday. And even then, Sean Payton was kind of like, we'll see.
And it's a calf injury.
And it's a calf. And now everybody in Pittsburgh knows how long a calf injury takes. If you have Garrett Bowles not at 100%, then maybe you're thinking about not just having the 3 OLBs out there, but maybe having Alex Highsmith be the one that stunts to the inside and having Nick Herbig attack from the outside.
There's a lot of different ways that this defensive front can make Bo Nix uncomfortable.
Yes.
And they have to make him uncomfortable because that's how they're going to win this game. They have to force turnovers, take the ball away, create splash. Mike Tomlin loves his splash. That's what this defense is going to do. That makes things easier on the offense.
I love the way you put make him uncomfortable. And here's why. You know who I want to be making Bo Nix uncomfortable? Number 39.
Oh, yeah.
The last thing a quarterback out of college can handle or absorb is NFL safety play.
Yeah.
And yet, when you hear those same quarterbacks get to their second or third years or whatever else, it's all they talk about. Heck, it's all Tom Brady would talk about when he was into his 40s.
Yeah.
Okay? He's facing Baltimore. What would he say? Where's 20? Where's 20? Where's Ed Reed?
Yeah.
Okay? This is a situation where, and you saw this as I did in Atlanta, where Minkah comes up to the line and just, even a veteran guy like Kirk Cousins goes, I have no idea what this is. What is he doing up here? Can somebody please explain that to me? Do that to this kid, even if you're not serious, even if you do the quick drop back after you go up to the line. Troy Polamalu used to do it all the time. Minkah's done it, not as much.
Yeah.
Mess him up, not just physically, mess him up here.
I think people also kind of don't want to give Tara Lawson the credit because he didn't come up with a zone blitz like Dick LeBeau or anything like that. But this guy knows how to disguise coverages too, and Minkah, he knows how to communicate those things to the guys in front of him. Yeah. That's how also that is
39's back there hiding behind some telephone pole somewhere, waiting to jump out.
And sometimes it's not even what Minkah can do. It's also what they can do with TJ whenever he drops into coverage. Think about the Rams game last year when they completely threw Matthew Stafford for a loop. We're talking about Bo Nix making the second NFL start. So, yeah, the defense can absolutely win this game for the Steelers tomorrow.
That said, I don't want to see TJ in coverage. Did you see how much fun we had talking about the defense? Did you see that? All right, now watch the tone change. You ready? This offense. Look, they did good things.
They did.
Okay?
Points on 6 of 10 drives.
And a 35-25 advantage in time of possession.
Yes.
Healthy count on first downs. 6 trips inside the Atlanta 40. All 6 of those resulted, as you just pointed out, in something being added to the scoreboard. If the last missing piece is to get into the end zone, to me, that's a little bit of an oversimplification. I see the last missing piece, Chris, as being do different things, meaning you're not facing Atlanta safeties anymore, so throw over the middle. You're not forced to send some kind of signal or message or even being literal about wearing the other team down, so throw it deep more than 3 times.
Yeah. I understand that, and I do think that they will be more aggressive against this particular defense. First off, they don't have – Arthur Smith, flat out said it. I wasn't going to let Jesse Bates wreck the game. So that pretty much
Atlanta's superb safety.
Yeah.
One of Atlanta's 2 superb safeties.
And Justin Simmons, the other one, played here in Denver previously, and now he's not here. So, yes.
Which is good.
Denver's safeties are not as good, considerably. Their linebackers – Out Singleton's a pretty good run stopper, not great in coverage. The other guy, also not great in coverage. You have the ability to attack the middle of the field, so do it. You get Pat Freiermuth involved. Do anything you possibly can. Get Calvin Austin available on those drags or slants or anything like that. Get those guys involved over the middle of the field, but really just run the ball down.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Run the ball down.
Or you can do it in either order, because if you do what Chris was just suggesting and you just get it over their line, and that could even be like a quick little slant to Calvin Austin. Get him involved, okay? Yeah. On those old Juju plays, for those of you who remember, where Juju was, he'd sit to the right of the tight end, almost kind of hiding, and then he'd do this, cut into the left, and you would just go, Ben would go one step, boom.
Mm-hmm.
And there a couple of times, especially when Juju, before he had the knee trouble, could take that thing to the house.
Yep. Patriots game, Jesse James game.
That's the one, actually. Yes. And if you think about the offense doing that, what that does is that softens up the Denver defense. It also takes some of the teeth out of the only guys really on the defense that you. Well, I shouldn't say that. Patrick Surtain plays for them.
He's a pretty dang good player.
He's really good.
Pretty
Corner, and he's going to be glued to George Pickens, probably already at the team hotel.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're able to get them and their edge rushers to back off the line a little bit, especially those edge rushers, you can kind of start softening up the Broncos up front. And then from there, that's when Najee Harris, and I think he's still going to get the majority of the carries,
probably, yeah,
can start softening them up in a different way.
In order to take some shots down the field, they're going to have to move the pocket a bit. They're going to have to utilize play action. They're going to have to get Justin Fields on some rollouts, whether it be play action or just those natural rollouts like we saw near the end of the first half last week. Some things to move the pocket, because that will help. First off, it'll help the offensive line. They can slide protections in certain ways in which you can take away, especially if Troy Fautanu does make his NFL debut, which I expect at right tackle. He'll be facing a guy, Cooper, who had 2 sacks last week. He's a guy who can get after the quarterback. Allen up front, he's going to give Spencer Anderson some troubles. He's a good pass rusher. They have guys who can get after the quarterback, so you have to find ways to protect Justin Fields instead of just, hey, we're going to do a 5-step and drop, 7-step and drop. It's not going to be that simple. You're going to have to find ways to protect him outside of just play action.
And it might be to the outside. If you think about the way Fields, he goes to his left or right almost equally. That's not common.
He's really, really good at going to his left and flipping his hips and making a
That's
throw.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where it's not he doesn't throw across his body as much as he does contort the entire body to where it is that he needs to throw, and he makes it look like it's nothing.
Yes,
but he has his own progress to make. I don't want to make it sound like Fields, had some immaculate game in his
check downs. Patriot check downs. He even said it this week.
Yeah.
He's got to hit his check downs.
Yeah. And that's part of it, I think. And allowing him, there's got to be trust in both directions, Chris.
Correct.
It's not just, they trust him and they're going to, or he trusts their game plan or whatever else. They have to trust and understand that this is a player who is legitimately comfortable throwing across the middle.
Yes.
Now, you can say what you want about not having fear about that sort of thing, because that can take you to the other extreme, which is Mitch Trubisky, who had no fear of throwing any pass anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
But in Fields' case, he sees the middle of the field and he doesn't go, oh no, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. Which is one of the reasons that narrative last week really bothered me.
Yeah. The thing that Justin Fields needs to do in order to get better at throwing over the middle of the field is it's reading, trusting your eyes, and then throwing.
Yep.
Because there's not enough of that yet.
Nope.
That really is one of the few things that Justin really needs to do consistently in order to go from here to here as an overall, okay, this is a legit. I mean, we already know he's kind of a legitimate NFL quarterback. Just what he can do with his legs alone makes him a weapon.
There's always a safety valve with that guy. We would talk about special teams, except that it's just Chris Boswell.
He can do everything. He can even punt.
I mean, there will be a new punter, too. Special teams. Listen, guys, we're going to be back with another one of these tomorrow after the game. Mm-hmm. And then make sure you tune in on Monday for the new double shot video. Chris and I will hook up again here in Denver to bring you that show. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern. So the one tomorrow is after the game. The one on Monday is at 4 p.m. And bye.